In the dark silence of the Imperium, there exists one question even the bravest warriors refuse to ask: why did this happen? A question whispered by dying soldiers, by broken heroes, and by those who stand before choices that could shatter entire worlds, and at the center of this question lies something older than the heresy, sealed away in vaults beneath Terra, the Terminus Decree. For thousands of years, it was just a rumor, a ghost of a law written in a language no one dared speak. But when its seal finally cracked, the galaxy learned a terrible truth: the Emperor had prepared for the day he might lose. This is the story of those who discovered it, and the impossible decision that followed. The storm over Terra was unlike any in living memory. Lightning tore across the sky in violent gold arcs, striking the adamantium spires of the Imperial Palace. Beneath it, deep underground, two figures walked in silence. Inquisitor Alira Voss and Captain Merrick Solland of the Adeptus Custodes had received an order they did not understand: proceed to Vault K-19. Unseal what is within. No explanation. No witnesses. No return order. The corridors grew colder with every step, the air heavy with the weight of forgotten centuries. The torches flickered as though frightened, their flames bending away from the approaching vault. Alira spoke first. Why are we doing this? Merrick did not answer. His golden armor, usually radiant, looked dull under the sickly vault lights. His silence wasn't ignorance, it was fear. Finally they reached it, a monolithic door engraved with the sigil of the Emperor, wrapped in chains reinforced with stasis fields. A faint vibration hummed through the ground, like the heartbeat of something buried alive. Merrick raised a trembling gauntlet. This vault was sealed on the day the Emperor was placed upon the Golden Throne, he said. We were ordered never to touch it unless the end truly came. Alira swallowed hard. And has it? He didn't answer. The unlocking sequence took 17 minutes. With each chain released, the temperature dropped further, frost creeping across Marek's armor. When the final lock disengaged, the vault released a soft exhale, like a sigh of relief, or mourning. Inside was a single object: a data codex, wrapped in cloth older than any living soul. Alira lifted it carefully, and the cloth turned to dust at her touch. Lines of ancient script unfurled across the device, glowing faintly. Terminus Decree, TOB enacted only if the Imperium falters. Alira felt her stomach twist. Merrick, this is written by the Emperor himself. Merrick nodded slowly. I feared that. As they activated the codex, a holographic projection burst into life, not of a man, but of a presence, the Emperor's voice, recorded in the final days before his mortal fall. My loyal servants, if you stand before this message, then the Imperium is dying. Both dropped to their knees, not out of reverence, but out of the crushing weight of his sorrowful tone. This was not the voice of a god. This was the voice of a father watching his children fall apart. The message continued: there may come a time when humanity cannot be saved. When chaos rises beyond control. If that day comes, you must do what I could not. Alira's heart pounded. What does he mean? Then came the final line, the one that chilled both to the core: if the Imperium cannot endure, end it. The vault shook around them. Alira staggered back. He gave us instructions to destroy the Imperium? To end everything he built? Merrick slammed a fist into the wall in fury. He gave us an impossible choice. To kill billions, or let chaos consume them. For the first time in 10,000 years, the custodian looked broken. The vault's alarm screamed suddenly, seismic tremors from the city above. The enemies of the Imperium had learned something, had awakened beneath the palace. Alira steadied herself. Merrick, what do we do now? The custodian lifted his spear. We keep this decree out of the wrong hands. And then, we decide whether to obey it. The storm intensified above them as they ascended from the vault, and the galaxy, unaware, continued its slow slide toward ruin. They emerged into a world shattering under the weight of war. Smoke filled Terra's skies, and distant explosions rumbled through the night. Chaos cultists had infiltrated the lower districts, and demons tore through the streets like living nightmares. The two fought their way to the upper bastions. Marek's spear flashed like lightning, severing limbs and banishing demons with each strike. Alira's pistol erupted with cleansing fire, her coat torn by shrapnel and blood, but for every enemy they killed, the decree weighed heavier on their shoulders. When they reached the Hall of Judgment, High Lords awaited them. Their faces were pale, eyes hollow. They, too, knew something had changed. Alira placed the codex before them. The chamber fell silent. One of the High Lords finally spoke. So, the Emperor planned for this. Another whispered, trembling, he prepared for the possibility that he would fail. The weight of the revelation shattered something in all of them. Then came the question, the same question echoing across the galaxy: why did this happen? Why had humanity fallen so far? Why had chaos grown so strong? Why was the galaxy built on suffering? Marek stepped forward, because we forgot his purpose. We worshipped the throne instead of the man. We turned faith into fanaticism, war into routine, suffering into normality. His voice cracked. The first time in his immortal life, we failed him. We failed ourselves. The room was filled with grief, regret, and terrible clarity. The High Lords debated for hours. Some argued to enact the decree immediately. Others demanded they burn the record and pretend it never existed. Some wanted to twist it for political power. Alira watched them with growing sorrow. These are the leaders who would decide the fate of billions, she whispered. And they're arguing like frightened children. Finally, she and Marek stepped outside, standing on a balcony overlooking the burning horizon. Marek's voice was low. Do you think the Imperium deserves to end? Alira closed her eyes. Deserve? No. But maybe it deserves a chance to change. She turned to him. The Emperor didn't say how to end it. He didn't say, destroy humanity. Maybe he meant end the corruption. End the cruelty. End the cycle. Marek stared at her, as if seeing hope for the first time. You mean, reinterpret the decree? She nodded. Not end the Imperium, and what the Imperium has become, rebuild it into something worthy of his dream. A long silence followed. Then Marek said softly, that is a path even harder than destroying it. Alira smiled sadly. All great paths are. Together they returned to the hall, where the arguing still continued. Alira placed her hands on the table. We will not end humanity today, she said, but we will end the system that is killing it. The High Lords, stunned, slowly fell silent. This was no longer about obedience or fear. It was about purpose, and in the shadows of Terra, as war raged across the stars, a single spark of hope lit the darkness. Small, fragile, but real. The Terminus Decree had been revealed, but its true meaning had only just begun to unfold.